What is up, Queens and Kings? It's your girl, Marcella Thomas, and thank you for tuning in to Real Topics. In today's podcast, we are going to dive deep into the question, what is the meaning of a good life? I have a very, very special guest joining me in today's discussion. She's a producer, a founder, a CEO of BSM Media Group. Miss Trisha McIntosh is in the building. Hi, how are you?
Hey guys, I want to speak to the people first. I'm good, Marcella. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm feeling really good. How's your day been?
Fine, thank you for having me. Ready to kind of drop a few nuggets for the people if I can.
Okay, yeah, and we're excited to hear all about all of your wisdom and all the things you have to say.
I try, Marcella. So when it comes to wisdom, it's something that you can't really claim. We'll dive into that unless you walk in a certain way. So
I like that.
Catch that in about 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So I always ask my guests to speak about themselves because I feel like no one can introduce yourself or no one can really tell your story like you can. So please tell everyone listening a little bit about your background, who you are.
Okay, I'll do the best I can. I'm missing one half of me. I'm a twin, you guys.
Yes.
So I am, like Marcella mentioned, the co-founder, CEO of BSM Media Group. And actually, it started off as a one-page blog back in 2008, along with my twin sister, Tasha Taylor. And so it has evolved into a full media and production company about myself. I'm a mom, a wife, and just living life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. Just living life.
Just living life.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Living life. And so right before we even get into the real topic on what is the meaning of a good life, I just want to take this time to shed some love and some light to Miss Trisha by just stating gratitude for the person that you are and the woman that you are gracing the earth as. So I really want to take that time to
Well, that's very kind of you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am. And so we're going to dive right into the questions. It's going to be a good discussion. So please stay with us and listen into all of the knowledge and the power that comes from having real topics and real conversations like this.
Absolutely.
So, Miss Trisha, we have all struggled through life, and some of us are still struggling through life. So, with that being said, what is the meaning of a good life despite all of the challenges and struggles we face?
Marcella, that's a really good question. What is the meaning of a good life? If you probably would have asked me that years ago, I would have probably not been able to answer that. The meaning of a good life for me is living your life with God.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I say that because you cannot live your best life without Him. Mm-hmm. He wakes me up in the morning, He gets me through my day, and I'm doing things that I love, have a husband, have children, because of Him. Right. And so I think when we keep our focus on God as the foundation, we are then living our best life. Right. Whatever we try to accomplish or incorporate in there, we can very well do, but how well are you doing it? And how good is your life without God in it? Because He makes it so much better. There's a peace that comes with that. There's a calm that comes with that. And I know when I don't have God in my life, when I kind of go astray, when I seem a bit more distracted, agitated, overwhelmed, or stressed. And so the meaning of a good life for me is a life with God in it.
I love that.
Because He's everything. So whatever I need, He's always going to be there to make sure He's guiding me through all of that.
The ultimate source. I love that.
Ultimate source, yes.
I love that. Yeah.
and I said, and I know, so for your audience, people listening, I also want people to know that it's not about religion for me. It's about relationship. I just actually had this conversation today with someone else. And so oftentimes when I talk about God or I post or I speak in person, some people may say, okay, here comes that religious person. God is not religion for me. He's a relationship, because I know I've lived a life where I didn't, I kind of put God in a box or watered God down. Mm-hmm. And it always ends up being a lot harder. Life is hard, period. But when He's there, when you walk with God, your life is so much better because of it. And so I don't want people to get turned off or turned away thinking I'm talking about religion here on your wonderful podcast, mm-hmm. but more so a relationship. That relationship actually with God helps you with other relationships. Mm-hmm. I can be a better person, a better servant, mm-hmm. a better wife, a better mother, CEO, friend, right. Sister, daughter, when I have God as the foundation in my life. Yeah. So if I'm not living my best life or a good life, I can't be that for other people.
Right. Yeah, you put that in a very beautiful way. That's so true. And we're going to actually come back to another question pertaining to that. So I'm going to read a quote from William L. Mace from psychologytoday.com. They are not sponsors, by the way. I just have to put that out there. But I found this statement very interesting. And so William states that there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. So what are your thoughts on his point?
That's really interesting. I don't think I quite heard it that way before, but I was listening to Bishop T.D. Jakes on Sunday before getting ready to go to our church home, our church service. And he said something in the sermon. He said, you are one thought away. I don't know if he said breakthrough or I guess your next big thing. And so when I hear you asking that question, we oftentimes talk ourselves out of something because we're thinking that it looks a certain kind of way, when actually it is what it is. It's whatever it's supposed to be, So thoughts and thinking, that's really important, is how you think, whether you're thinking negative or positive.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the power of the thought.
Right, power of the thought, yeah. Because, like if you, no matter what situation you're in at the time, be grateful and thankful for where you're at. Mm-hmm. And then your thought process, instead of it being negative, just channel that and make it more positive, Mm-hmm. And so it may not be tomorrow, it may not be next week, but it's going to be soon. You'll get there. Yeah. I didn't had it to where, if I may share, mm-hmm. I've seen God take nothing and make it something, where it was just nothing there. And you pray on it, you meditate, and then also, too, you keep the faith and you think. Like once you pray and think, just make sure you stay consistent with it, and it'll turn around for you. Positive thinking is something else.
It is, I'm learning that now. I'm learning that now. That's very solid and beautiful points.
I'm trying.
So I've had my fair share of thinking that in order for my life to be good, fulfilled, me to find some sense of happiness, peace of mind, whatever, that I needed money. And many people are still in this frame of mind. So if I'm a listener whose mindset is in the I need money, cars, clothes, all the fancy things in life, what message would you share in relation to me to living a good life and what that means?
Okay, so and I don't want to put an age on this. I think it's just probably certain periods in life, different times. Not wealthy yet by society standards. Mm-hmm. And you have to be real careful when you're trying to acquire wealth. Mm-hmm. And you don't talk to God about having the foundation and the substance, the tools, mm-hmm. Before you get the money. Mm-hmm. Because what really is, we need it, it's necessary. You have to pay bills, and it does afford for a certain type of life. However, what's more valuable to me, my family, is love, peace, that joy, that happiness, that calm that you have in your life. And no amount of money you can't compare the two. You can't compare it. I don't want to say a lot of young people. I don't want to say that because I don't want to offend anybody, mm-hmm. Because you have young, older, But I don't equate success necessarily to money. Because I know a lot of successful people who are not wealthy by society standards, but they're rich on the inside. And I also, if I am able to, pour into somebody, to let them know that, be who God has called you to be, and do it to where when you lay your head down on a pillow at night, that you know that you're able to live with yourself and that God is pleased. I ain't say be perfect,
right,
but just be the best version of you that you can be, because the stuff comes with Him. So Marshalla, like if you go out and you do what God has called you to do and help whomever He has you to help through your gift and your talent and your skill set, and you do the work. That's the thing, doing the work.
Right.
The money and stuff will come with it. And if people are just basing things off of just money as far as being successful and think they have to have this and have that, this car, this house, those clothes, that purse, those shoes, or whatever the case may be, that's just stuff, and that's on the outside. But what's really on the inside is most valuable.
Yeah. So why do you think that some of us see that pleasure?
Because we see it all over the place. It's on television, it's on YouTube, it's on Instagram, it's on Facebook, all the social media, whatever, all the books. It's everywhere. And so if we're not grounded, and we tend to, and myself included, I've looked at things and you tend to measure where you're at based upon what you see. Somebody has this car. Oh, I don't have that car yet. I gotta get moving so I can have this car.
Right.
Or somebody has, whatever they have. We always try to measure that. But it's always at the appointed time. I think because everything is so accessible today, and we see things. We see the celebrities, the Kardashians, all these different people. No pun intended.
Right.
We see all these things on television, and we want that. But really, what it comes down to is that you have to do the work. You have to. A lot of people want this, that, and the other. They want the wealth, the power, the good life, and all that kind of stuff, but they don't necessarily see the background. They don't necessarily see all the stuff that goes on in the background. And so when that person does arrive by society standards, they think, oh, this person, no, it took a lot of hard work. And then those who may have it, where you see that they have wealth, you don't know what's going on in the background either. You don't know how they got it, if they're happy or they're miserable. So it's nothing wrong with wanting to acquire wealth. Just don't let yourself be defined by that, It takes a lot of work. You got to do the work. And we want to be like that because we see it everywhere on television and social media, and it looks attractive.
Right.
Yeah, but we don't see all the background stuff in it.
We don't. Yeah, we don't. That's so true. And you hit dead on the work out. It overpowers everything. Like you work for something, it's only a matter of time. It's going to come full circle for you to.
Because just because somebody has money, or you think they have money, or you see it, you think they're living a good life. It's a lot of wealthy people who are miserable, and it's a lot of people who don't have that type of wealth who are at peace. So regardless if you have $1 in the bank or $1 million in the bank, no amount of money can buy peace of mind. If you're able to wake up in the morning with your being in your right mind and peace, you're rich. You're wealthy. And so we should not define ourselves, our life, and who we are, and measure up to what somebody has as far as wealth and things like that.
I definitely agree. Wholeheartedly agree. That is well said.
The good life is a peaceful life.
Good life is you heard it here. From
the
Ms.
good
Patricia.
Life is a peaceful life.
It's a peaceful life. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, in all the work that you do, which you do a lot, what does being able to provide an opportunity or a platform for people mean to you?
That's a good question. I will say, Marshalla, earlier on, and now we're talking about like BSM, right? And we're talking about, at the initial start, I still wasn't really clear on the platform. Just wanted to do something with my sister, and that mirrored, what we did as children as far as all the creative stuff, the arts and things like that. So how I got back into the creative side, my son, this was back in 2008, and I used to always talk about things I did as a kid, me and my sister, my twin sister. And so one day, I was talking to him, and he goes, well, Mom, why did you, I hear about all the stuff you did as a kid. Why did you stop? And I really had no answer for him. And then when I did answer him, I said, life happened, And so that's the thing, too, also if I may interject. Life happened for me to where I got so removed and so distracted from what God called me to do. And it took my child to remind me, well, no, you're not supposed, that's not who you're this, go back to being this, who you really are. And so that's how it all started as far as the platform of BSM. And it took some years before I really realized what the platform was to be used for. People will see us on pictures with celebrities, and that's nice and that's fun, and those things are fun and nice. Meet a lot of people, see people on TV. Hey, Mike Epps, whatever. Hey, how you doing? However, it's still work, and then also too, what is it really for? Who is it really for? And as time went on, I realized, and I was like, you know what, Trisha, it's not even about you. It's not about you. It's not about Tasha. It's about helping other people. And so throughout the years, we've learned that this platform, BSM, when we talk to people, sometimes it's therapeutic for them. People think because they see people, see an actress or on TV or a singer on stage that they got it all together.
Right.
We speak to them respectfully, and they share their stories about being one acting job away from going out to get a 9-to-5, which is nothing wrong with it, or the different trials and tribulations and things like that. And I think a lot of people need to hear that. So not only just showcasing things media-wise, but I feel like we have a platform to where people can see themselves in everybody, no matter if it's just somebody on the street or somebody that's in a film or on TV, on stage. It should all be relatable. And so this platform that we have with BSM, I believe it's to have it's an avenue for people to feel comfortable enough to tell their stories in truth. And that no matter who you are, it's relatable. Like I can look at somebody's story on TV and relate to it, or somebody off the street and relate to it. So it's so people can tell their stories in truth.
Right.
Yeah, that's
it's almost like bridging the humanity.
It is, because as a child, I would see people on TV and say, oh, look at so-and-so and such and such on stage. Look at Michael Jackson. Look at him spin doing a moonwalk.
Right.
And you think there's nothing wrong in their life. And that's so untrue. And being in this field and talking to people throughout the years, we have more in common than not.
Oh, yeah.
And so BSM is bridging the gap where people don't feel like, these celebrities are invincible or they're on a platform. We're all equal. Just because you see a Beyonce or you see a Cardi B or anybody, it doesn't mean that they are better than you.
Yeah.
They just have a job to where they're seen more, but we're all equal. Yeah. So just trying to bridge that gap of you are just as great as the people that you're watching.
Yeah. And
you're thinking they're great. You're just as great.
Just as
great.
And
that's what we want people to know, that you have greatness within you. You don't have to be on stage or whatever. You're great every day if you do your best.
Wow. Wow. Very inspiring.
Thank you.
So with it being so inspiring, like what inspires you to inspire others to always live that good life?
Ooh. Do we really want to get into that, Marcia?
Oh, yes.
Because each day is different. I'm going to be very truthful.
Definitely.
Some days I'm just not feeling it, and I know that I should be grateful. And in some days I feel like I'm just like, on top of the world, and that's just being human.
Yes.
What inspires me to keep inspiring other people? When I really, it comes back to God.
Yeah.
Because when I look back over another chance and another chance and another chance. And I say, well, if God was like how we are, where would I be? Mm-hmm. And so I think back over just being able to do what I love to do, being married, my children. There's a sense of freedom that comes with that. And so like that inspires me to treat his people better. Sometimes I may not understand why I have to do something. Okay, Lord, I got to talk to this person. I got to talk to that person. Okay, what am I supposed to say? I don't have the energy today, But somehow when I do have those conversations or I do as told, it ends up helping me as well. So like when we pour into other people and we think that we're going to be on empty, if we're doing it God's way, we receive it right back. So that's always nourishing, and so how can I inspire other people when I'm not speaking to him through prayer or going deeper in his word, which is truthful? That helps me to inspire other people because I feel like I have something on the inside of me. I don't want to go off my own understanding. What do I know? So I have to get that, from God because he tells me, okay, go here, do this, do that. And even though I may not always understand it, it always works out the way that it's supposed to. I think inspiration comes from what's genuine on the inside.
Yes, ma'am. And like we had a brief discussion earlier about what's on the inside will always be what's shown.
Right.
If you try to hide it.
I've been there, done that. I'm gonna be truthful. Yeah, I've been there, done that.
Real topics.
To where I've tried to to conceal. And then one thing, like if you ever been around somebody who knows God for themselves, or like they say, those older people back in the day, I don't know, baby, just something about that person. How old people talk? Something about that person. I just can't put my finger, but something just ain't right. There's truth to that because it's like you feel something spiritually. You feel, we're spiritual beings. So you feel something when somebody walks into a room and they can just claim that, I'm the nicest person, but that energy you feel may not be the same thing, So whatever's on the inside will come out on the outside. Right. So for those who like to gossip and slander people's names and things like that, we got to stop all that because, either they're going to see what somebody said that's consistent or the opposite of what somebody says that's consistent. But whatever is on the inside of you always comes out. My pastor says this. He said, you can change churches, relationships, schools, workplaces, but you're going to show up everywhere you go. You're going to show up. So if you haven't corrected yourself and changed your thought process and mindset, you're going to show up at that new church, that new school, that new job, and it's just going to be the same drama as you had in the other place. You have to change who you are on the inside.
Right. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. I love that. Nuggets. Take notes, everyone, please. Going back to the conversation around God. And I kind of wanted to ask you an interesting question. Is living a good life through God the same thing as just living a good life?
Ooh. Okay, we're going to go there, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. For me, and though I say this for me, I think it's for everybody, but people have to come to that realization for themselves.
Right.
For me, there is no possible way to live a good life without him. How could you possibly live a good life without him? We need him in every aspect. I need him to breathe. That's mercy and grace. Every breath that I take is him. So if I need him to breathe, I need him for everything in my life. And we tend to think because we have these skill sets and we have different things, he's given that to us, but we have to be grateful and we have to stay humble because it all belongs to him. Everything belongs to him, So, you can live a good life, your best life, if you live your life with God. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not trying to preach, you guys. There's nothing wrong with it. I tell my children, I'm not that old, I'm still young. I tell the people younger than me that you can love God and still be cool, You can love God and still have your swag. You can love God and be funny and laugh and be sexy. You can love God with all of that. But to love God is to love him. When you know him for yourself, without just saying you love him, and then you're because people are going to see that anyhow, by the way you act and how you are, what you go through. I'm not perfect, but I know that I can call on him no matter what. 12 o'clock, a.m., midnight, any time of the day, I can call on him, and he's always going to be there. So I tell my children, I say, the best relationship you can have is the one with Christ, because, what if mom's not there? What if dad don't pick up the phone? But if you can call on the name of Jesus, you're going to always be all right. And I'm not trying to turn your, to some church service.
Real topics,
church service.
Everyone.
But I do want people to know that I've made it this far because of him. There's no way I can speak about success or BSM or my marriage or my children, any of that, without talking about God. It's because of him that I'm still standing, still in my right mind, that I'm still working, and all those things. It's because of him.
Still able to provide opportunities.
Because all the mistakes I've made throughout the years, so many. I tell my children, I've made so many mistakes that I've made enough for you all. And that's another reason why I'm always speaking whenever I can. Probably sometimes too much, according to my son, my oldest son. Whenever I can, because sometimes people are not always there the way you want them to be. It doesn't mean they're not good people. But when people are in trouble or make mistakes, or whatever the case may be, or going through something, there has to be somebody there to listen to them, not judge, but listen. I'm so grateful and so thankful that God did not give up on me, because I can look back now and say, what was I thinking? What was I going through? But, I guess I was supposed to, because now I can turn around and help somebody else not to make the same mistake. And my pastor said something recently in church service, to lead with grace, which basically means that when we're talking to people, don't judge them. You might not have done what they did, but you done something. You might not have said what they said, but you said something. And we tend to kind of want to highlight what somebody has done and then try to, minimize ours. Or we forget when we get older. Well, no, grandma, no, uncle, no, so-and-so, or you were once 21, you were once, you didn't have it all together. So we have to make sure that we don't judge and that we're transparent.
Right.
Transparency really helps because it lets somebody know that they're not alone. And then with you and what you do for the Mental Happiness Project and things like that, it helps with our psyche, because when people feel like they're isolated or alone, that they're the only ones who's made a mistake, it does something to them. We have to make people feel more comfortable to tell their stories, to tell their truth, and to kind of go through the process of their mistakes without judging them.
Right.
That's the only way they can get better.
We have to meet people where they are.
Exactly. You said it just right. And then when you do, if you're able to pour into them, don't leave them where they are. Some people, we leave them there. But why are we leaving them there?
Right.
Would you want somebody to leave you there?
Exactly.
And my spiritual mentor, she told me, she said, if they don't want help, don't help them. And I had to, and that's something I was struggling with because I didn't realize throughout the years I was a carrier. Like, people always tend to bring me the hard stuff. And I realized that it was taking a toll on me because I was storing that stuff. And I said, well, Lord, why am I always getting the hard? Like when somebody's sick or somebody's going through something, they will bring it to me. And then I had to come to an understanding that, I'm just that person that certain family members or certain people come to. I was like, well, Lord, I want the easy. I want the light fluffy. I want that kind of stuff. But then they trust you. Yeah. And then also I said, okay, well, they go to so-and-so and such for this. And they come to me for this. And they come to so-and-so for that. So nobody should ever feel left out. It's just that some people just connect with people in a certain kind of way. Okay, Lord, well, I get all I'm going through this and I'm not feeling good. And that's okay. But I just have to learn how to, when I get it, people bring it to me to pray about it and give it to God so that it's not taking a toll on me. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, so when you, Miss Latricia, when you are at your final moment on this side of life, your final moment, what is the message that you would want to leave with the world, but your love, especially your loved ones? What is the message that you would want them to hear about what you do? What is the daily reminder for them?
It could be anything?
Anything.
Okay. There was a post, and I shared it recently, and I might be paraphrasing here. I've given God 1,000,000 reasons not to love me, but none of it has changed his mind. So I would say the message I want to give people, there's nothing, absolutely nothing you can do to make him love you any less. We sometimes, people, think about how many people have gone through life and then to the grave, thinking because they did X, Y, and Z or whatever, or they didn't measure up, that they were a letdown, that God didn't love them. So I would just want people to free themselves. To free yourself to where you don't carry, if God has already forgiven you for whatever you felt like you didn't do right in life, count that all joy and free yourself. Because people, this world will they try to hold you hostage. We saw that with Kevin Hart with the whole Oscars.
Yeah.
And he apologized already initially.
Yeah.
And they wanted him to keep apologizing. For what? He already apologized.
Yeah.
If it's good enough for God, and you apologize for whatever you do, and he forgives you instantly.
Right.
Now, he don't wait a day. He don't say, well, you know what, Marshalla, I don't know, I'm in my feelings. I'm feeling some type of way, so I'm going to wait till Tuesday. It's Monday today, so I'm going to wait till Tuesday.
Right.
Before I say, yeah, I accept your apology. He doesn't do that. But we as a people, we do. So free yourself and don't carry all that stuff with you. So by the time you do take your last breath on this earth, it should be peaceful. Let it be peaceful.
Yeah. It should be a breath.
Yes.
A real breath.
And so I would say that, just to free yourself and not to carry all that stuff with you. And when you've had the opportunity to evolve and to gain wisdom and knowledge through God, because it only comes through God. I was talking to a relative one time and they say wisdom, they was talking about gray hairs. I was like, no. That don't mean somebody's wise, because somebody can have 100 gray hairs and have no wisdom.
Right.
None, zero. Wisdom comes from spending time with God. A lot of things that I learned about people that they try to conceal, it came from God giving me that wisdom, that insight, to where it allowed me to forgive those that I didn't understand back in the day and say, why did they do this, that, and the other? And God said it was just scared. They was just too young. He didn't know any better. That's all she knew. Well, that's where she come from.
Right.
That's what she was taught.
Right.
And so when you spend time with God, he'll help to, ease those things that we tend to want to hold on to, and then we become bitter by, and things like that, and we become softer and more forgiving, and things like that. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm married, I have kids, but the most important relationship, and I don't always treat God the way I'm supposed to. Be honest. This is an honest podcast, right?
Honest, yes. It's real
because
topic.
we're human, you know. And sometimes we get in we get in self, and we have to bring it back and say self, and check yourself, and and pull it back together. But God is always there for us, and it's the most important relationship. I don't care what anybody says, whether somebody is a believer or a non-believer. I like to tell my story as much as I can. And if God did it for me, he can do it for you, because years ago, a lot of people, tried to write me off, thinking they knew my story. They didn't know my story, because only God knows your story. And that's why we have to be careful when we speak over people's life and who they are. You know, I can't say what Marshalla is, or, you know, by what I can see from my natural eye.
Right.
But not to a point to where I'm saying anything, you know, negative, because God has called you to do something great in this earth. Yeah.
Great. And start with love.
Oh, yeah. And start with love. Exactly.
Yes,
your platform, start with love. Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of people find that hard to do because they have not experienced or seen love.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why, if you have the opportunity and you know God for yourself, speak about it.
Yeah.
Because God is love. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes people don't see love or hear love or feel love in their households, because you got people who have been hurt, who have been whatever, and so it's on them. Whatever's on that person, if they're not healed, it's going to get on somebody else. Right. That's why we have to start the healing process, and like you say, the love, and, you know, making sure that our mental health is healthy.
Right.
So that when we're raising our children or we're around people, that we're spreading more love than not. Yeah, because whatever you have on the inside, that's what's going to get on everybody else.
Right.
So if you got hate and bitterness
right.
and things like that, yeah, whatever room you walk into, that's what you're going to bring into that room.
Yeah.
If you have love on the inside and joy and peace, it's going to be that type of environment.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. You heard it best here from Miss Latricia herself. One half of the Twins of Media here at BSM Media Group. And that is all the time we have, everyone, for today's Friday I was
podcast. Just getting started.
Thank you so much, Ms.
You're welcome.
Latricia,
You're so welcome.
for being an amazing guest and dropping all of those nuggets, all of that wisdom, all of that knowledge, all of that truth. Do you have any final words to everyone listening about today's discussion around living a good life?
Don't be afraid to be you.
Yeah.
Also, to living a good life is being you.
Yeah.
There's only one you. I'm a twin, and there's still only one me, even with being a twin. And so, and don't let anybody minimize who God has called you to be.
Yes, ma'am.
Whatever you like to do. I did that briefly. I did that growing up, you know, being, you know, the arts, singing, dancing, drawing. And I recall somebody saying to me one time, what else do you know how to do? I'm thinking like, so never let anybody minimize, you know, what God has given you and what he has called you to do here on this earth. Also, too, before I go, whatever he's given you, make sure you stay in him, because it's not about you. Make sure you stay in him so that it's played out the way that it's supposed to be played out.
Right.
Yeah, and stay humble.
Yes.
Stay humble. Yeah.
Humility rules all.
Mm-hmm.
Please, can you share with everyone the social media?
Yes, so for BSM on Instagram and Twitter, we are at BSM_mag. That's MAG. And then on Facebook, we are Beautifully Said Magazine. That's what BSM stands for, Beautifully Said Media and Beautifully Said Magazine. We are a media production company. And I think those are our best social media handles.
Yeah, thank you.
And our website is bsmandmedia.com. So you can find us there for all your celebrity news, entrepreneurs, and lifestyle.
Thank you. Are there any upcoming projects with BSM Media?
Well, today we had an interview with actress Priscilla Shire. You guys know her from The War Room. And so she has an upcoming movie called Overcomer. You guys make sure you go out and see that. And so lots of more interviews with celebrities, entrepreneurs, and we're going to be giving you guys some lifestyle stuff, cooking and different tips and stuff like that. So you guys make sure you stay tuned in to BSM Media Group.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Queens and Kings, for tuning into Friday Triday's Real Topics. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so that you'll never miss out on a chance to feel inspired and to feel loved and appreciated. And please leave a comment down below sharing something that you learned today. That will help you along your journeys. And let's start a conversation. I'm Marshalla Thomas, and what better way to keep it real than with real topics? You all have a beautiful day. And as I always say, the most important thing is to always remember to give love. Peace.